Well, good evening and welcome to Wisdom Walk. I am so grateful to be here with you this evening. I am also simultaneously going to be broadcasting over the internet using Blog Talk Radio, hosted by Black Hole Radio. So I have a introductory song, Nicolela by Stevie Wonder, that's playing right now. And as soon as that is complete, I'll be able to really begin the show. But I want to take this time to share with you who are watching about my first book being published. I am so grateful and so excited. It is the same name as the YouTube channel, The Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery, all about ancient wisdom for transforming pain, which of course I talk about all the time on the show. The book was the conception from a program that I did starting in 2008. And it was for men who had been cycling through the criminal justice system and who were exhibiting post-traumatic stress symptoms, or just really there were blocks to their ability to move forward or to even complete a program. And so I was asked by the executive director of the Alma Center to come in and to do this program, to bring my healing gifts. And it worked really well, really well. And so I realized within the first several months of doing the program that this was, just an opening for the men and for what they needed to do in life, and also about their healing. And so I wanted them to have something in hand that they could take with them when they completed the program. And I'm so happy to say that this June, the first graduating class of men from the Wisdom Walk program will get a copy of the book. And a friend of mine said, this book isn't just for the men, it's for anybody that wants to access this ancient wisdom to support healing emotional pain. And so it's available both in paperback, also in Kindle form. Amazon, or the publisher that I use, self-publishing, is Balboa Press. And you can go to my website and get more information. That's www.wisdomwalktoselfmastery, just like the YouTube channel.com. So I'm very, very grateful and excited for that. I'll mention it one more time for the radio listeners, so you'll hear that address again. And I'll also put something down in the description box below this video to, I'll give you the link to the website and some more information. Wow, I've got a lot to talk about tonight. June is a new month and a new theme. And I'm just really grateful and excited to be able to share about emotional support and the importance of knowing how to manifest that. So here we go. Good evening and welcome to Wisdom Walk here on both Black Hole Radio and my YouTube live streaming from Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery, name of my channel. I am your host and guide, Jojopahmaria Nsoroma, and June is the second of 3 water months in this mineral year of clarity, confidence, and courage. This June especially brings radical transitions and deep transformation. Emotional support is my theme this month because it is so essential to navigating this deep change that we all are going through and are affected by. So over 4 broadcasts and live streams, I'm going to share wisdom and insights to help you grow your ability to manifest emotional support. Our culture conditions us to value financial support over emotional support. So we can miss out on what I consider the most loving human experiences that anyone can have. To be emotionally supported is really just grace, just grace. So tonight, I'm going to do a spill that I call Emotional Support 101. And I'm going to guide you through an exploration of your experience of giving and receiving emotional support so that you can identify blocks and ultimately grow your manifestation ability for this essential human need. Now, for those of you who may be listening in or watching for the first time, let me give you a brief overview of Wisdom Walk. It is a personal development resource for your mind, body, and soul. My ministry is any pain that is not transformed will be transferred. So, the essential goal of these shows is to help everyone who's listening or every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. I broadcast live on both Black Hole Radio and my YouTube live channel, Wisdom Walk to Self Mastery, unless I'm on hiatus or the unexpected occurs, which happened in May. And if for some reason you can't access the internet or listen or watch, you can always listen to the live radio broadcast at this telephone number. It's area code 563-999-3089. Again, that's 563-999-3089. You can ask questions or share comments with me on my website, which is www.wisdomwalktoselfmastery, all one word, .com. Or you can also leave comments below this YouTube if you're watching me through YouTube right now. But right now, I invite you to lay or sit back and join me for an exploration of the inner landscape where we can connect to our soul and discover the true treasure of being human. Now, as most people who watch me know, I always begin this program by first honoring the ancestors. These are the persons whose shoulders we're standing upon. These are the persons for whom we are beholding to who and where and even what we are today. And I'm not just talking about the ones who graced us with love and kindness. I'm also talking about the black sheep of the family, the persons who may have hurt us, may have abused us, may have neglected us and invalidated us, because our souls grow as a result of both the good and the bad. And once someone has crossed through what their sacred contract was about, and so if they've done harmful things, they get to learn why they did that and the impact that that had, and all about, what's really going on. So in other words, nobody stays in their human place of good versus evil. They evolve back to the place of spirit, which is a place of pure love. So having said that, I want to tonight really honor the ancestors and for raising our consciousness on this planet, helping us do that, because we don't realize enough that we are in a jump. We are in a jump. And a jump is where evolutionary energies happen and it moves human beings from one level of consciousness to a next. And I call this the Age of Illumination. Some indigenous people call it us entering into the fifth world. But clearly, things have shifted. And, we hear so much bad stuff on the news. Because a lot of that is so that they can sell, right? And keep people watching so that the advertisers can sell. So we don't usually get the whole story. And plus there's I call it the limbic economy, meaning that, we get marketed to things that are going to incite our limbic brain. And that's really our brain about flight, fright, and survival. And it's drama, melodrama, drama, rama. So we don't get enough of the good things that are happening. But I read this really great article in the Unity magazine where this man, and I forget his name, but I will bring it next week. But he talked about this jump, evidence of this jump, and he talked about how much um, people have moved out of living in poverty around the globe. Um, how much people now have better access to water than what they did. Um, about how much better educated people around the globe are becoming. Um, and that, humanity also is demonstrating a willingness to cut the carbon levels, which actually has gone down over the last decade. You don't hear about that enough because there is more to do. But we've grown our understanding of that we have to take care of the animals, that we can't just destroy them all and think that we can survive. So we are moving along, we are evolving along. And I think it's important to know that we haven't gotten to this on our own, that we really have gotten help from the ancestors and the people who know and who are saying to us, no, don't do that, recycle that thing. Don't just throw it in the street, or buy an electric car. You can afford that. So do that, help out the air quality here, or give back, give back into a community, that needs help. So I want us to just take a moment to express gratitude to these ancestors who are helping us with this evolutionary jump. So think about someone, either blood related or not. It could be a celebrity, but someone who walked the earth plane and who really kind of was making you aware of how you could change things, that you could change the world by, getting your education, by thinking about the air quality and learning how to recycle, or learning how to give back to the community, being philanthropic, making sure that you shared your money, that you shared your material goods, that you shared your time and energy and emotional support. Who are those people? And just think about them for a minute, say their names aloud. Again, for me, it's my grandmother, my mother, my grandfather, my aunts, my uncles, family that I came from, my family of origin really, really taught me all of that. And so call their names out, and I'm just going to evoke them. And again, just thank them so much for this jump that we are moving through. So, Creator, Mother, Father, God, Source, all the one, all that is, thank you, thank you, thank you for your blessing and your mercy in our lives, and for yet another opportunity to call out to those great emissaries of yours, the ancestors. Creator, as a human species, we definitely are in need of help to make sure that we continue to evolve and to grow both our quality of life, both our understanding of you, both our understanding and valuing of each other. And we know we cannot do this alone because our fears can drive us into such craziness. And so we are so grateful for the work and the support from the ancestors to have gotten us to where we are. And yes, we have so much more work to do, but we know those ancestors are going to be with us, helping us move forward to make this world a much better place, a world of peace, a place of abundance, a place of fulfillment and happy endings in life and new beginnings. So, Creator, thank you, thank you, thank you. Ancestors, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we continue to open ourselves up to receiving your love, your guidance, and your wisdom this day and every day. So, Creator, again, I thank you for these blessings of the ancestors in the name of all that is holy. I say amen. Ashe Ahoasa, Shinka Bismillah, and so it is. Ashe. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And again, like I said, next week I'll have that article and I can share with you some more of what this person shared, which I think is so powerful about the jump that we are going through. Because again, we need to be reminded of that. For For those of you that are listening in on the radio, I already did a little commercial for my first book, but I'll do one again. It's called The Wisdom Walk to Self Mastery, and I'm showing it on the YouTube channel. It's the first book that I've written about this wonderful ancient medicine from my ancestors, the Dagara and the Dagara medicine wheel, and this ancient wisdom that so helped me to learn how to transform my pain as well as teach it to others. And so the book originally was designed to support the men, and so I'm really grateful for that. But a good friend of mine named Nancy told me, the book isn't just for the men. I loved reading your manuscript, and I think it would be very helpful to other people. And so I was able to publish it and give other people access to it. So it's available through Amazon, through Balboa Press, Barnes and Nobles. I think it's also in the Kindle form, and I will be working on an audio version over the next several months, because I know some of the men, when I was talking about developing it, they said, "Are you going to do an audio version too?" And I said, "Yes, I will." So I will do that. So that is something I'm very, very grateful for and very happy to be able to do a commercial on here on my broadcast and YouTube today. Now I'm going to transfer over to the elemental and astronomical wisdom for the week. As I said in the opening, June is really, it's huge. It is really big, transformational month. You see this? This is like, oh my God, it came out. Yeah, so I am being rewired up and down the place. And I know that other people are feeling energies and things that are going on that are challenging. You wouldn't think getting your book out is challenging, but it is. It's a good thing, but it's a challenging thing as well. And so we've got all these challenges going on. And I think it's important that we stay open to that and open to getting the support that we need in order to navigate through this. And it's one of the reasons that I chose stay the 11th of June through Monday, the 17th. We're going to be in a water week, and it's a water month in a mineral year. What does that mean? The opportunity is for releasing what can no longer support your new journey. So like I said, this is a month of really radical transitions, deep transformation. We're all being asked to start something new. Some things have come to an end, and now some new things are beginning, and they're, really designed to place us into a new vision, if you will, because we're moving toward 2020. 2020 is going to be a very powerful year, not just because of the U.S. presidential campaign, but it's symbolic of clarity, really seeing clearly, like things being really seen and understood and brought to light. And that in itself is going to be causing great shifts. So, and of course, there's some people that don't want to shift. And so that can create some backlash. But the reality is the universe doesn't care. The universe is like, hey, we shifting. We going. You coming? Not? Okay, I might have to drag you, or I might have to leave you behind, but we're shifting. Like, the universe is just clear. So it's important that we're able to go with that and realize that, we've outgrown some things. We've outgrown some things. It may be a job, it may be a home, it may be a friend, it may be a intimate relationship, it may be your clothing, the way you've been wearing your clothing, maybe your hairstyle. It may be how you've been thinking about yourself and who you are. If you've been holding yourself small, it may be time to think of yourself bigger in terms of what your ability is to impact the world and the people around you. So again, this notion of release this week, you'll get more and more information, indication that, you got to let some stuff go, because you're getting ready to be on this new journey. And for some of you, you like me, you've already started on a new journey. Call upon the power of love, so important, and the element of water to enable you to peacefully and gently bid farewell to the people, places, or things that once sustained you. Wow, this is really deep. Express gratitude for these were essential contributions you received to your healing and growth. But now you've outgrown their energy, and it's time to make room for the new energy that is about to show up for you. And again, for some of us, it's already shown up. So embrace vulnerability, embrace the unknown, say yes. So here are the distractions that will come up as this energy moves in, the new energy, the purifying energy, the releasing energy. First one is fear of loss. We can really start to focus on what we're losing rather than opening up to learning what we're gaining. Fear of the unknown. Of course, none of us wants to go into a dark tunnel and not know what's going on. None of us, we all want to have our roadmap, right? We want to be able to see, I want my map quest to work. But, we're moving into the new and you can't know. So when you recognize that fear of the unknown, you want to shift it and you want to call on that courage. Yeah, because courage isn't not being afraid, but it's saying, I'm afraid, but I'm willing to move forward and calling on the help that you need to make that happen. Another distraction is needing to know or explain outcomes that have yet to be lived. And this really is a call for staying in the present moment, doing what's right in front of you and not angsting or worrying about what needs to come or what's supposed to come. And yeah, that's a challenge, but it's so important in this time to do that. And I'll be talking more about that this month. And last but not least, holding on out of false obligation and false guilt. Oh my God. So in other words, no, I can't let this go because, fill in the blank. No. And we know when we're done with something. We know when something's really over, but we'll try to hold on. I'm human. I've done that too. Like, I can't tell you how, like, sometimes, my fingertips are bare bone because I'm just like clenching and holding on. But finally, it's like, it's done. It's over. I have to let it go. And so we cry because when we love something, we're going to grieve it. And so we cry, we release, and we open up to the new that is coming in. So next week, on Tuesday, the 18th, we'll begin a nature week, which is about change. So after the releasing, we're going to get to experience the change. And of course, I'll tell you all about that in the next broadcast and live stream. Now, moving into the astrology piece. As I said, big month for lots of deep transition, radical transformation. This information comes from Astro Butterfly, and this is from her overview. And I picked out the piece that I thought for right now was really important. This month we definitely are going to have the summer solstice, so that's important on the 21st. And right before it, we get a full moon on the 17th. So, what is going on astrologically, astronomically, that I thought really, kind of lets us know about all these changes is about Neptune, Saturn, and Jupiter, and all of them being retrograde. Now, retrograde, for those of you who don't know, just means that from our perspective, it appears that these planets are either still or they're moving backwards. Okay, they're still or they're moving backwards. And retrograde times, like with Mercury retrograde, isn't about things are going to fail and fall apart. It's about, no, it's a pause. Things are paused so that you can catch up. You can put some things in place. You can do some setup. You can do some preparation. Or things can be released. It's a pause. So, okay, let's empty out. And that's what's happening for June. So again, it's Neptune, Saturn, and Jupiter. And she says this definitely points to the fact that we're at a turning point. Okay, so letting go of something and stepping into something new. She says you're given the option to change the course of things. Whatever you do now, it will reflect in the final outcome of these transits, with the retrograde piece, which will happen in the last part of the year. So again, things that are happening now are going to have an impact on what we do the final 6 months of the year. So during this time, here's some things that she points out. She says, Neptune square Jupiter will make us feel as though anything is possible. So we're really going to be feeling our superpowers this month. Neptune sextile Saturn will help us to actually do something about our dreams and aspirations. So we actually can take action. We can take action. Neptune, we want to be with everything. She says, with Neptune, we want to be with everything. We no longer want to feel alone and separated. So there's this call for community or call for connection that is happening. She also says during this time, you feel as though the world is yours. You can basically achieve anything you put your mind to. Neptune dissolves any borders, real or imaginary. So again, it's like this really big opening for something new to come in. She does kind of forecast, be careful of going off into a fantasy world and, going beyond what you really need to go beyond. But the reality is here, this is a time to really think beyond your borders, to think outside your box, to really think big, because this is something new that is coming in for you. She also says, if in the past you believe something to be impossible, in June, you will finally see through the fog, there's a clarity, and realize that these obstacles are only in your mind. So, yeah, some powerful things showing up. And I just have to grab the book one more time, because let me tell you, there was a point this was over a 10-year period of writing this, and there was a point where I just thought, oh, it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And so to see this actually in the flesh, I did cry. I got emotional, because I was like, oh my God, finally it's happening. So again, it's that kind of energy, like these things that we've been working on, things we've been dreaming of, things we've been hoping for, are finally coming to fruition, and we can just step into it and feel good during this retrograde time of these three big planets. Now, and give you a little bit of information for navigating the energy each week this month, because it's big energy. I'm not going to lie to you. It is really, really big. So the first thing is to be conscious of it. Don't tell yourself there's something wrong with you. It really is the energy having an impact on you. So intend to spend more time resting. I can't emphasize that enough. Just really let yourself rest. This whole week, I have been laying down really early at night, early for me, because I'm a little bit of a night owl. And so 7:30 is like early for me. 8 o'clock is early for me. But I had to lay down. I was that tired. Or I rested. I just stopped everything else I was doing, and I just said, let me pop a movie in and lay in bed, or let me play some Microsoft Solitaire, But I really did just say, okay, let me get still and let me just let myself rest. Let me stop doing and being busy. And it's really important to do that, because this is such a huge energy that's moving through us. And it really is shifting things up. I mean, your brain is definitely being rewired. Your Kundalini energy up and down your spine is being like stretched and grown and whined and played with. I mean, this stuff is really real. And so energetically, you're going to feel it, and you will feel like you need to go into more rest. Let yourself have it. Don't fight it. You'll only get sick, so that you really do have to be laid out. I also strongly suggest you stay away from negativity right now. Stay away from negativity in all forms, people, media, situations, thoughts. Just stay away from it. And when you do fall into it, because we're human, just make up your mind to shift out of it quickly. Okay. Don't stay in the negative. Move yourself into the positive, into the love. My resource this week for you, I highly recommend, to help you with the resting and being still, is some meditative videos. And the two sources I recommend on YouTube are Yellow Brick Cinema and Meditative Mind. Again, that's Yellow Brick Cinema and Meditative Mind. I'll also put them in the box below as a reminder to this video, and I'll post it on my Facebook page for Wisdom Walk Radio. But I think that it's really important just to let yourself listen to some meditative music. These two channels do a great job. The stuff can go for 8 hours, so you can have it on while you're sleeping at night. Some of them go for a very specific time, like an hour. There's an angel one by Meditative Mind that I really like. And it just goes for 1 hour and 11 minutes, but it is so wonderful, and you feel so refreshed and so much calmer when you finish it. These are not guided meditations. It is just the meditative music, because sometimes I think that's all you need to really just let yourself get still and just open up and allow that energy to move through you. Don't be in resistance to it. So I hope that really helps you with this month of June energetics, and change that's going on. And, I welcome any comments and that you have. Put them in the comments below, or send them to my website, www.wisdomwalktoselfmastery.com. Now, I'm going to move into talking about my theme this month, which is manifesting emotional support. So first, I'm going to define it for you, because when I'm talking emotional support, it isn't, I think, what we kind of always think about, which is somebody's in pain and let me go help them. Let me feel sorry for them. Let me go help them. So I'm going to define it a little more broadly for you. I'm going to also talk about why it's essential for humanity. And then, of course, I'm going to give you a good personal challenge. My quote this week comes from Leo Buscaglia, who died in 1998. He was a professor at the University of California. And what happens is a student of his committed suicide. It was a young woman who was someone who he really had connected to in class. Like she was really getting what he was talking about. She seemed to just, really get it and have a connection. He had no idea that this woman was suffering the way that she was. So she committed suicide, and it really had an effect on him to the point where he actually realized that he needed to change up how he was teaching, and that he needed to focus on love. And he started these classes where, it was about love. There was no test that anybody had to take, but just to really say, we're not doing a good enough job loving on these young people. He also became this motivational speaker as a result of this. And his claim to fame came when he did a PBS special, and it really got good reviews. And so he's noted, and you can easily find his information online. This quote comes from his book called Love, and I highly recommend it. And it says, "Too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around." And this is the truth. I know it personally, both from having received it and have given it. So emotional support, what am I talking about here? To talk to you about it, to define it, I want to first start with a little story. When I was in Wisconsin, and people who live in Milwaukee know that the best place to get custard, real custard, is called Kopp's, and it's a family-owned business. There's only about 3 or 4 establishments where you can get it. Maybe it's only 3, around the area. And everybody goes to Kopp's. Everybody goes to Kopp's, from thugs to policemen to judges to grandmas to grandpas. It's like everybody goes to Kopp's to get their custard, especially on a hot summer day. So anyway, so I was there at Kopp's trying to get my maybe it's 3 years old, somewhere between 2 and 3. And as they were getting close to the door, and there was a little curved edge, the little boy tripped. And you could see right away that he was hurt and he was getting ready to let you know he was hurt. And his mother, holding his hand, kind of jerks him up and she says, "There ain't nothing wrong with you. You okay? You okay? Nothing wrong with you. Come on, we going in here. You're fine. You're fine." And so he didn't cry. He didn't cry. He held it in. And as you can see, I was really affected by that because I still remember it. And this was many years ago. But I just said, oh my God, this is why it's so hard for men to be emotionally intelligent. And it's not just men. I think it happens to all of us, women too, where you'll be in a situation and you want to say out, but you don't. You hold it in. Because we start to learn in this culture that being, showing any form of weakness makes you a target, makes you a victim. That you have to be strong, and so don't let them see you sweat. Don't show your weakness. And when we do that to children, what we're really doing is shutting down what is a natural impulse to want emotional support for what you're feeling and to give it. And when that gets shut down, it's not a good day because emotional support, again, it's a natural impulse, but it needs to be validated. It needs to be validated. Oh, but you're gonna be okay. But oh, sweetie, and he should have been able to just scream and cry and be a mess. And for her to say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Let's see what we can do to make it better," and just really allow him to be in those emotions. Um, Emotional support that I'm talking about is a conscious choice to turn someone away from fear, doubt, despair, pain, hurt. But it's a conscious choice that we can make. A conscious choice. And it's about service. It's about helping that person, you know. So emotional support, again, it is that natural impulse, but we actually do get to choose. We get to choose to do it, to give it or to receive it. Um, Emotional support can show up for all of life situations. You can be fighting cancer or fighting injustice. You could be losing your home or a job or receiving your dream home and your dream job. You could be grieving the loss of a child or celebrating the birth of a child. It doesn't matter. Good, bad, indifferent, you can experience and receive emotional support. I point this out because I think we really think that the only time somebody needs to be supported emotionally is when they're in pain or fear or doubt something bad is happening. But when something's good is happening, people need to be supported emotionally. That's a really important time for emotional support. Like when somebody graduates, June is the time of graduation. That's when somebody needs emotional support. They need to hear, wow, you did such a great job. You made it through. Wow. They need to hear that. That's important. Um, to easily experience emotional support, whether you're giving it or you're receiving it, you have to have an open mind, an open heart, and an open will. And this is something that one of my favorite MIT professors talks about. His name is Otto Schremer, and it's in his work called Theory U. So it's teaching people about, organizational development and learning. And he talks about having that open mind, that open heart, and that open will. Because you have to stand in vulnerability with clarity, confidence, and courage when you are involved in emotional support. Because sometimes a person may be in pain. I go to, consciously give them support, but they may push it away. Oh, leave me alone. I don't want any. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Right? And we've all experienced that. And you have to be able to accept that, okay, they're not able to receive it right now, but I'm going to pray for them and hope that they are able at some point to receive the support they need for their pain. Or sometimes when I receive the emotional support, I may not even acknowledge it, you know? I may be so so shut down that, or I may be feeling undeserving. That's another thing that happens. That someone is, trying to be supportive to me, and I just don't react. I don't respond to it. It's like, whatever. Like, what was that? Why are they doing that? Or you just don't have a stance. And again, all of that can come out of how we get blocked, which I'll be talking more about next week. So we can deny ourselves from receiving it, even when it's given generously and unexpectedly. And we can also deny ourselves from giving it. Yeah, because we may be afraid, oh, that person, they're not going to respond. They're not going to, oh no, they just never respond. So again, emotional support, very, very important, but something that we consciously have to make a choice about, something that we can deny ourselves or we can allow, especially if we keep our mind, our heart, and our will open to receiving it. So let me talk to you now about why it's so important, why it's essential for humanity. Quick case in point back to that little boy who was so shut down. The work that I did with men cycling through prison is to really help them remember that they were human beings. Because in prison, you get labeled with a number. You really are dehumanized. It's done, it's a part of how the system is set up, and it's for control. So if I reduce you to a number, if I strip away your humanity, it's more easy for me to control you. Now, not everyone does that who works in a prison, but a lot of how the system functions is done that. And so I knew that a big, big block for these men, why their post-traumatic stress symptoms were what they were, why they were struggling on the outside to fit back in. I shouldn't say fit back in, to be able to begin anew after having been in prison. A big piece of that was because they weren't really connected to their humanity. And I knew that so much of what they had to do to survive in prison, and probably what was going on even before they got into prison, was shutting down those emotions down. It wasn't okay. It wasn't safe. It wasn't safe to have your emotions, to be emotionally intelligent or intimate with your emotions. And so I knew that a big part of my job, probably the biggest part of my job, was to demonstrate and create opportunities for emotions to be okay. Not only okay, but essential to their ability to reach joy and happiness and fulfillment in life. So when we're denied emotional support, we turn into like zombies. We turn into zombies. Just like they just hungry to start eating, And that's basically what happens. And that's why when we see like the young man who went into the school in Connecticut, Sandy Hook, and shot up everybody he could, including kindergarten children. And you think like, how could he do that? How could somebody do that? They must just be crazy. But yeah, but a part of that crazy is that they are just so shut down to their emotions. They are so disconnected from being able to get emotional support. So why is emotional support important? Because it is what makes us human and allows us to sustain our, to stay connected, to not see ourselves as numbers or as disposable, but to see ourselves as human beings. Right now on Netflix, the great Ava DuVernay has an incredibly powerful kind of documentary. It's a 5-part series about what's called the Central Park Five, um, that horrible, horrible situation that happened where these 5 young men, they were only like 15 years old, 15 to 17 years old, got railroaded into going to jail for a crime they did not commit. And, again, you think about how did the DAs and the prosecutors and stuff, allow that to happen? The policemen who were interrogating them, how could they do that to those children? Again, it goes right back to that absence of emotional support in their lives, the absence of them being emotionally intelligent and having any kind of emotional intimacy with themselves. Become, like those specters in Harry Potter, and it would be sucking, people's souls out of them. So clearly we need it. Now, you can't manifest what you don't know you need. And so that's why I'm really making a point about we need this. We need emotional support. Since the dawn of civilization, here's another aspect to this: financial and material support has taken precedence over emotional support. Wars, natural disasters like the plague, and other life threatening situations have shut down our emotions to focus on survival. Sometimes it turns into the foundation for the development of cultural institutions like family, religion, employment, education, and community. And so you can live in a very emotionalist society, which we do, and which we are working to shift around. Because in this age of illumination, in this time of great change, in this time of a jump in human evolution, as humanity is evolving away from humans as disposable and onto humans as valuable and necessary, um, believing in and knowing how to manifest emotional support becomes essential to all aspects of wellness and fulfillment in life, what I call those happy endings in life. So, again, without being able to manifest emotional support for yourself and for yourself to share with others, you will not be fulfilled in life. You will not be fulfilled. Life will be dull and meaningless. Um, you will, also, maybe get to where you would be harming people. And if it's not through a form of physical violence, it could be through emotional violence, or psychological violence, spiritual violence, in some way that, your inhumanity is going to show up. I believe that the absence of emotional support and the ability to manifest it is the major reason for the epidemic numbers of suicides among males in the United States. I really, really believe that. So, this work around emotional support is really, really important. And again, it is something that it's a natural impulse, but we can unlearn it by, like the situation I told you about the boy with the mother. Um, in my own life, receiving emotional support was something that I had to relearn. because I got into a situation in school where I went from a school where I was around kids who were similar to me economically, intellectually, into a school where they weren't. And I stood out because I was what was called a brainiac. And so I went through a period from fifth grade on into high school where I could easily be bullied and invalidated for being who I was. And so in order to survive in that situation, I mastered how to shut down my emotions. Again, never let them see you sweat. They can call you names, they can punch you in your stomach, they can threaten to beat you up at 3 o'clock, but you're not going to let them see you. So you're going to hold it in until you get home, and then you can, fall out on the floor and cry. But I learned that. And so I learned that for that number of years, so that when I became an adult and I'm out working in the world and step into a management position, that's what I'm doing. I am holding it all in. I was the most emotionally unintelligent, most emotionally retarded manager you could ever meet. I really didn't have the ability to have a compassion for what was going on for the people who were working with me. It was all about me, right? Because I got to survive. Thank goodness, God sent me some interventions that helped me wake up to the fact that I was so shut down in my emotions and that I was being inhumane to the people around me. And so I went on a journey to begin to learn how to be emotionally intelligent and emotionally intimate. And so being able to give and receive emotional support is work that we do from the inside out. From the inside out. I had to relearn that it was okay for me to express my emotions. I had to remember the emotional support that I did receive in my home, and that was real. Um, and I had to learn that, it's really, really important to not only give emotional support, but to make myself vulnerable enough to receive it. And for the situation I've been going through with my book, I have just been blown away at the level and the amount of emotional support that I've been able to manifest through this process. And so I'm very proud of myself because I know that wouldn't happen. That wouldn't have happened 20 years ago. And so I share that with you to say that know that this is a journey. Know that this is a journey. It's not supposed to happen overnight, but if you set that intention, if you really get it, that you can learn how to reclaim your natural impulse to give and receive emotional support. Yeah, it's going to come back. And again, I'm not talking about feeling sorry for people or taking on people's pain. That's not what I'm talking about. And I'll get into some more, details and give you some examples next week. But no, we're not talking about feeling sorry for people and helping and supporting them in their victimhood and no, we're talking about that. We're talking about emotional support, which is I recognize that you're in pain, and I offer you a way to transform that, to transcend that. So here's a personal challenge for this week. What was that experience like? Did you get all of what you needed? Why or why not? When's the last time you received emotional support for something good that happened? What was that experience like? Did you get all of what you needed? Why or why not? And thirdly, do you find it easy or challenging to give emotional support? Why? Who influenced that for you? And I want to add to this, it just came to me now. Do you find it easy or challenging to receive emotional support? Why? and who or what influenced you in regards to that. Some good stuff to contemplate. So in closing, I want to first of all shout out to my wonderful engineer, Miss Yvette Park, actually en route home and hooking me up to the radio broadcast. Thank you so much, Yvette. I really appreciate your due diligence in trying to keep making sure this happens, that I can be broadcasting. And to the entire Black Hole Radio Be Well family, thank you, thank you, thank you. As you know, I could not do this alone. I want to shout out to my regular listeners, to Miss Sarah, who right now is watching the Luciano Pavarotti. And again, you talk about emotional support. Oh, yeah. She is just so, so supportive of me, especially with my book, just encouraging me, cheering me on. She just brought 18 copies of my book to give out to her friends and family. She's just amazing. And I'm so grateful for her in my life. Very, very blessed. Transformational leadership colleagues, my medicine brothers and sisters around the world, to Asu and Ina, big shout out. We have to Zoom very soon. And those who are listening in for the or watching for the first time, thank you, thank you, thank you. I could not be doing this work without your support. Next week, manifesting emotional support continues with removing your blocks. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that. Again, my YouTube channel is Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery. My Facebook page is Wisdom Walk Radio. And last but not least, I want to thank my God, my ancestors, my spirit guides, my loving entities, everything that walks with me, keeps my head to the sky, my feet to the ground, and my heart open to do this important work with and for all of you. And to the internet gods who have kept my connection strong this week, I am so grateful. And please have a fabulous water week. Remember, release, release, release. Don't resist. Let it go. And most importantly, please remember, you are not disposable. You are divine. Good night now.